Hello, my name's Dante. I've decided what I'm going to do here is read a piece from my book, Logical Guide to Seeing and Understanding Corrupt Politicians. This is a piece on programming the public. I'm doing this for people in gang stalking. I see a lot of people are cooped out. You guys are reacting emotionally too much. A lot of people I see. Obviously, so I'm trying to do my bit here in regards to the subject of programming. People are flying off the handle, and they don't understand how this works. Programming is psychology used for creating fascist movements. It's cult. It's for how cults are formed. Um, Fascism is when government becomes cult. You'll see that in both of my books. I have two books. Um, Don't Tread on Me is my first book, and it was spiked by agents with technology, electromagnetic technology, but there's a ton of good information in there. I make a $1 profit. It's being sold for like $12.95. It's enough to help anybody. There's tons of good information in there. But the point is, what I want to do is I want to read from my book here. It's a piece on programming the public, and this is how people are um, manipulated into attacking you. I explain the mechanics of this. I also have a piece in my book, Don't Tread on Me. The piece itself in Don't Tread on Me is more messy. All the material in this is cleaned up, and this, quite frankly, it's good. This book shows the bigger the bigger picture in regards to stalking. I already have a video posted. I posted it a long time ago in regards to my books, and today I'm going to do a specific piece on this from this book. And again, this is how the people are controlled and manipulated, and I really get into a lot of the nitty gritty in this book. Don't Tread on Me. If you're in stalking, they sell a false profile, and they fit the programming, the stories they sell to people and everything, usually centers around a false profile, a false psychological profile, which they are selling in regards to you. I understand the mechanics of this very well. I've been in this 18 years. I'm intelligent. I've known from the very beginning, that I was dealing with government agents, and the amount of psychological warfare and the level that it's on. We're talking about playing hardball with government agencies. So if I seem knowledgeable and good at a few things here, that's because I am. I took. Well, I was only. I took. My education goes as high up as a year and a half on a university level, and I took a lot of psychology and sociology classes. And I had, I believe it was at least a 3.0 grade average. You know, um, I scored consistently all throughout my childhood, 3 grades higher. In other words, I could have been placed 3 grades ahead, three grade levels up. And I am a good source of information for people. And the point of this video here is to help people out in regards to the stalking here. This is what I call one of my educational videos. And these spooks bomb me all the time, and I prefer to be coherent and to the point, and I will simply read to you my piece on programming the public from my book here. An example of programming the public and individuals. How programmed people and what they experience is not reality and is not correct. How agents create fake witnesses from programmed people. Of course, you all know that. You're in stalking, you know that there's all sorts of baloney going on about you. You know that people are believing all sorts of ridiculous stories, what have you. Well, this is how a lot of this is happening. The public began targeting my kid at the age of 2. These spooks sold this as helped me out with my sensitivity in regards to my kid, life, and people, which was a lie and farce. This was a lie and cover story. The first time this happened was at the playground. I was with my kid. The two of us alone, except for a woman walking by, which I did not see at the time. The kid was looking in her direction and began crying for no reason. I turned quickly and saw this woman stop what she was doing, but not before I saw what was happening. She was pointing a finger accusingly at my kid and making all these facial gestures like she was extremely angry at my kid. Of course, my kid was scared and I was shocked. This woman quickly walked away while I was still in shock. Who does this? What type of person does this to a 2-year-old? Well, let's look at some points here. In real life and context, a disturbed person does this. A hateful person does this, and for no reason, I might add. Behind the surface level, behind this cover story, it was being done for the agent in charge of this mobbing, who I called the clown. It was her idea, and again, this says something about her. Now, again, as we look at the real level, the agent level, who does this because they were asked to? Either a nasty, disgusting, hateful person in the first place who did it because they care less, or someone who has been convinced to under false pretenses because of lies and manipulating in regards to that person. Now, these agents can also claim it was one of our agents, and maybe it was. But job title does not work here as an excuse. It is still nasty and disgusting and says something about the kind of person involved. In fact, this whole thing does. It says something about the clown. She decided to target my kid, a 2-year-old, and did so to get to me. It is sick, not a matter of being professional, and it is extremely personal on her end as well. It says something about the psychology of the person calling the shots. That said, the clown is a psychopath, and our lives are full of events which prove this. One more thing, agencies did not bother finding out. Now let's look at this from normal life. What is a normal reaction to this behavior? Mine is shock. Most parents would be angry at the person who did this. This is more than an issue of violating social norms. It is disturbing and it is sick. Again, the first response, I can tell you right now from having experienced this, your first response is, the point of view of a parent is, this person's mentally disturbed, and the event itself was disturbing. There's no excuse for it. After this began to escalate and to happen more and more until my kid and I were both constantly and continuously attacked when we went outside. This became constantly reoccurring. Like anyone, when this is going on, you begin looking out for your kid. And I might point out here, we are no longer talking about normal life here, as the context of normal life does not even exist anymore when it is happening all of the time. It reached the point of, if we go out, we will have problems. The public began doing this all of the time, each person only looking at their own small part, unaware of how much this was actually going on in my life and my kids' life. That is because they were compartmentalized, being told only enough to do what they were told to do, not told the real reason for doing so. And again, folks, you got to understand, a lot of these people in stalking that you're dealing with, and look, some of you may not like me, because I'm trying to give you all a real perspective here, and I see a lot of people are not grounded in reality. But, use common sense here. If you want to keep your feet on the ground and stalking and not get thrown out of kilter so much, you got to look at some of the basics here. Look, a lot of these people doing stuff to you, they're only aware of their little tiny piece. They see you reacting, and to them, and they think, well, you're nuts, because your reaction is so big in regards to what they do many times. And I'm not speaking here specifically of the situation with your kid or what have you. I'm talking about other things. Obviously, some things warrant a heavy response from the target. People deserve to get their teeth knocked in sometimes. That's life, man, and that's how it is in real life. But what I'm saying here is that, look, many times the situation, you find yourself overreacting, and the point is, these people will think you're crazy because they only think of their little tiny part in this. What they don't know is that you've had this done to you hundreds of times by other people. Maybe you've already gone through it like 30, 40 times, before you finally go off on them, And these people are clueless, man. But the point is, for you all in stalking, look, man, just listen to me, hear me, and feel me here. Look at it from a very real perspective. Look at the mechanics and put aside your fear. and your anger and your attachments here to these emotional states. And just listen to me. Just try and be grounded and really think about how this is really working. This is what I am trying to do for all of you. Um, I know a lot of people out there are seeing, well, you've been in this 18 years and you're not going free, and you speak of a 30-day cycle for stalking. I'm dealing with a psychopath. I'm dealing with somebody who has killed people, citizens of this land. Woman's not normal. She's been holding me in deliberately. Um, there's nothing normal about my circumstances. And in fact, if you look at my videos, you're getting a very real inside look of what has been going on here. Simply because of my circumstances, I understand very much in terms of the agencies and this technology and, how this is all working internationally. What do I tell you, man? My knowledge is a result of my life. And I am trying to help you all out because I'm not on this victim level. What do I say? Quite obviously, I've alienated myself with many people. People don't want to believe it. They want to think that I'm clueless. And look, man, I've been dealing with agencies from the beginning, and I've known it. I'm really good at this, and I understand all of this in ways that most people inside of Stalking don't. And y'all, I'm trying to help you all out here, and I'm trying to help you all out, and I'm telling you that if you can get up on this level, you're going to be a lot more. You're going to be less affected by stalking itself. My problem actually involves not stalking. Believe it or not, it does not involve stalking. My problem and my getting off the handle, what have you, is that I'm affected heavily by these agents and technology. I'm not using it as a cheap excuse, what have you. I'm telling the truth. Your best defense in regards to stalking, and more importantly, in regards to this technology being misused on you, your best defense is knowing yourself. You hear what I'm saying? Know thyself. And I do. I happen to know myself very well. I have a belief system that involves enlightenment, and my own ideas. What do I tell you? Jesus came to help liberate our minds. He came to show us a way of reaching this mental state and being in tune and harmony with God all the time, reaching a level where He is at. The same thing with Mother Mira, Jesus, many other saints, Buddha, Muhammad. God has sent people all throughout time and all across the planet for helping to awaken us, And I'm way off subject here. But getting back to the original point, I apologize. The original point here is that I am trying to help people out here, and if you can get past the pain and the suffering, and yes, of course, I what do I say? It's hard not to get angry, what have you, but I can help you all, at least some of you, get to this level here. And the main thing is you got to keep both feet on the ground, and you got to look at a lot of the basics here. And again, a lot of these citizens, they're only thinking about their 5 minutes of fame here with you. Their 15 minutes of fame with you. You know what I'm saying? And it's an important point. Because when you start understanding some of the basics like this, it helps you be a lot more realistic and grounded in regards to the people you're dealing with. That's just it. I have a cutoff point in regards to my dealing with citizens. I just see them as being idiots. I'm like, well, you're an idiot. Point. Just the wall comes down. They just my skin's thick, and the other end of it is I have a very reality-based perspective in regards to all of this. And I look at, well, I'm in this because of a pedophile cop and a racist killer at 911. Do you think these people would be getting their hands filthy if they knew the truth of this? So what do I say? They are idiots, and it's just the cutoff. I just think, well, you people are a bunch of damn idiots. You don't know what you're getting your hands filtered for. A lot of these people are going to smoke a turd in hell. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in the concept of hell, but I do believe in the law of cause and effect, and there's a balance. Uh, you will reap what you sow. You know, and if you look at my book here, I understand energy and physics very well, and this is all throughout my books. I call it human physics. And it's the idea of, we as a people need to counteract all this negative energy with positive energy. It's a law of cause and effect. The whole law of cause and effect is about balance. It's about a zero. You know, um, I could say a lot more here. But anyhow, I want to get back to the book. And the point of this video is it's educational. And what I really am trying to accomplish here is give you an inside look at how the public is manipulated into attacking you. And I hope that by doing this, this helps, some of you at least, become more grounded and centered, and gives you a better understanding of the mechanics involved here. If you understand the mechanics involved, you can actually analyze a lot of this as it's being done to you, and it will have less of an effect. It's the rule of thumb that knowledge is power. Power is not evil. It's how you use it that counts. And in this case, using it for yourself, knowledge, use it for helping yourself. So I'm going to continue here. So the amount of times that this was happening would have convinced some, let's see, where was I? The public began doing this all the time, each person only looking at their own small part, unaware of how much this was actually going on in my life and my kids' life. That is because they were compartmentalized, being told only enough to do what they were told to do, not told the real reason for doing so. If people had understood how much this was going on, they might not have taken part, as they would have understood a few things. They would have understood they were being used, lied to, and manipulated to do something nasty, and for very nasty reasons. We can all relate to that. The amount of times that this was happening would have convinced some that there was something wrong with the picture. And again, a lot of these people were thinking, well, I'm doing it for these agents, and they're thinking they're the only ones involved or what have you. And if they had known how much this was being done to me and my kid, they would have realized that there's just something wrong with the whole picture. So I became watchful, which is understandable given the circumstances. There's not a parent on the planet who would not have been. Now, at this point, the spooks claimed I was paranoid and sensitive. It is an obvious lie, and apparently they were already claiming this. This was a sales pitch to the public, which they sold before the events occurred. It was their cover story for Getting Away with Lying. It was a false reality they sold. They told the public that I was overly sensitive in regards to my kid, which again, given context, was a lie and manipulation on the agency. They just did not give the people context. They did not give the truth proper context so that people could make an informed decision. So the public believed that they were helping out with a sensitivity problem, when in reality they were being used and misused to create that very problem. And the rule, the quote rule of thumb here is, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. These people thought they were helping me and my kid out. Very many of them did. Just how pathetic are these people, They, in fact, are being used to create and condition the very problem they had been told I had in the first place, which was a lie. These citizens are non-questioning fools, and were so because of a badge and job title. It's blind respect for authority. Look, the Stanford prison experience. This is all this stuff is. I mean, agencies, in no small part, have been tricked into buying into this cover-up for the very same reasons: blind respect for authority. And, these agencies clearly didn't think deeply enough. You look at all my other videos, especially look at the recent ones I've posted. It's real clear. Until the clown started all of this, there never was a problem, and she made these citizens look like idiots by using them to try and create and condition a problem that was not there in the first place, and used and misused them to try and create the problem she said I already had. They were brainless, non-questioning, and stupid. None of these people even considered how much this was happening to me and my kid. None of them even tried considering what this would be like. if it were them and their kid. Nobody looked at the reality of any of this. When reality goes out the window, it stinks of programming. Look at the viewpoint they had in their actions based on this. It stinks of cult and brainwashing because it is. The psychology is exactly the same, and government is using this. And again, folks, fascism is when government becomes cult. That is my quote. I came up with it for my books. Again, I'm usually direct and to the point, and this sentence is a good example. And as time went on, of course I was looking. And as my kid was singled out and attacked, of course I had a problem. No parent would not, but these citizens were told I had a sensitivity problem, and so they saw things this way, not as things really were, not reality. The context had been removed, hidden. This is called programming, and it turns people into absolute robots. The people were told to see what they were programmed to see. Their perceptions had been altered so that they saw and experienced things differently than how they really were. They were wearing false perceptions because they believed that what they were told was true. And look, folks, the reason why they believe what they're told, the reason why they believed it is true, is because of a job title and a government badge. This is the Trojan horse for getting people to automatically believe that things are true. They automatically don't question it when a badge is shown, a job title. And that's used right there for getting away with all sorts of stuff. Their perceptions had been altered so that they saw and experienced things differently than how they really were. They were wearing false perceptions because they believed that what they were told was true. This is a way of controlling people, of manipulating them for control of their minds. It is a form of subtle brainwashing as the people are programmed like a computer program, functioning as they have been programmed to. And it starts by telling lies and explaining actions and experiences in advance with lies. You are given sunglasses to wear, and everything is seen through these and experienced through these, and it is all incorrect. Thus, they ask people to do something, and based on knowing what they are doing to me and my kid, these agents, of course, can predict the outcome and reactions based on this. In other words, they know what my kid and I will be like based on all of the facts in the real level reality, the reality which is going on and which they have not shared with the public. They know that how my kid and I are in this weird situation is actually not reacting differently than anyone else given the circumstances. In other words, given this weird context, the psychology involved on my kid's end and mine was normal and predictable. And based on this, the agents prepare citizens with lies, explaining our behavior before it has occurred so that they do not see it as it really is. The people are whitewashed with lies before so that they see things differently later than they really are, differently than how they really are. My reactions and my kids had already been explained in a way which was deceitful before these citizens got involved for particular events and circumstances. Staged events. And these are called staged events. This is all my terminology, but I base my terminology based on circumstances. I try to find a terminology which is descriptive. And again, it's a staged event. It's set up ahead of time. Many people became convinced of something not true and became more convinced after taking part in helping the agents and, quote, seeing and experiencing these things. They were not even seeing and experiencing things correctly. They were merely experiencing things as they were told to, as they were told things were. In reality, it was all a lie, deceit, and manipulation. They had their programming sunglasses on. These government agents get away with this, and everyone believes them because of a badge, blind respect for authority, and a job title. It is ridiculously easy for these agents and people with half a brain, and people with half a brain should realize that agents asking them to break the laws and do illegal things cannot be good people. As a point, a few years later, they had someone masturbate at the public library when I was there with my kid, and while one of these agents stood by laughing about it and making direct eye contact with me, just to let me know it was them, these agents. Good people? How do you think one of these people from Stalking would feel if it was them and their child instead? Think That at that point they might get their correct perspective. They might get the correct perspective. Our rights are the rights, and strangely enough, people involved in this stalking do not get this. And that's because of brainwash. That's what programming is. It's modern day brainwashing, folks. And, I'm showing you all the mechanics of this. I'm showing you all how this works. I don't understand why. I've actually had a lot of good information in my books. And it's mind-boggling, just the amount of results I've gotten. Again, well, I'm not going to go on here. I'm going to stay on subject here. And again, this is to help you all, because I just see a lot of people, they don't understand how this works. Everybody's wrapped up emotionally and then reading stuff on the computer that's misinformation, and then people are losing their minds, man. This is how it works. I'm showing you all. The idea of normal life got thrown out the window from the beginning. When you know based on many experiences that you and your kid are going to be singled out and attacked, then this is reality. It is not a matter of it all being in my head or sensitivity. This happened every time we went outside, and I knew it would be this way. So did my kid, a 2-year-old. It's true, she was sticking her tongue out at these people. The context is not real life at that point, but it is reality. These dumb citizens, however, were not told this, and quite obviously never thought deep enough to even figure a few things out because of the badge. Sounds like the psychology involved in fascist movements in the Stanford prison experiment, because it is. People did not think or care about what they were doing. They only cared about obeying authority. It is weird and kooky. It is cult. Again, it's not a coincidence. Context was hidden and deliberately removed so they did not know the truth of the matter. Otherwise, they would not have gone along with these agents. How hard is this to get? They were told to do this and told the real life was that me and my kid were simply sensitive. The citizens and I and my kid were on two different levels, and only I, my kid, and these agents knew the real level, which is reality. The citizens were told what to see, given a deliberately inaccurate psychological profile which could explain the behavior, but which was false. Again, they're sold a false profile, folks. This false profile is sold to people, and the programming and the staged event, it reinforces, these staged events reinforce the programming and reinforce this false profile they are selling. My psychology and actions as a result were different than they perceived. My psychology and my kids was based on reality, not lies and manipulations. Pieces of reality context had been removed. A false profile about me created as a centerpiece for selling a false viewpoint to citizens, who in turn became false witnesses. And that's what they are. They think they understand, they think they are witnesses to something, and they are not. They are false witnesses. They don't know what the hell they just saw. It's the whole point. They were told and given a viewpoint to wear in order to benefit these agents, which is the point of doing this in the first place. It was a deliberate rewriting of events to convince people of a profile not mine, to give these citizens a cause and justification, which is what is needed for fascist movements in the first place, in order to get people to take part in one. For them, seeing was believing, except in the case of programming, it is not. This is also why people in stalking are told not to ask questions and told to not listen, as these agents do not want people having all of the context. Again, this is why this psychology is illegal and why cults and extremist movements are watched closely. Yet look at who is doing this here, government agents. And in this case, they were lying to and manipulating the public to get them to attack an innocent man and his child, and in ways that they would not like either. If this is not cult, then what is it? If this is not a movement and wave, then what is it? If this is not brainwashing and the actions of brainwashed people, then what is it? It is conspiracy, it is illegal, and it is disgusting. And your tax dollars and government are responsible for this. Think that any of this has to do with protecting the people and terrorism? Do my daughter and I look protected here? Of course not, but it does have to do with illegal laws and programs. Does anyone know this stuff? If you look at television, you would never know. Looking at a computer is another story, but then they will be reformatting the internet soon so that it is as worthless and informative as television. So if you're going to look this material up and research, I recommend that you start now. Again, I have a chapter on this internet reformatting, so back to programming the public. And I do. Folks, they're going to shut down the internet, and they're going to reformat it. And there's a chapter on it in here. I've noticed, I've got a lot of videos that have been blocked on my playlist. And what they're doing is they're really starting to enforce this thing about international laws in regards to songs and videos, what have you. They're really starting to buckle down. So they're going to shut down the internet. They're going to reformat it, and you guys are going to lose a lot of freedom on the internet. And I cover it in my book here. And, you know, I've sent copies of this off. I sent a copy off to Dr. John Hall. I'm going to be sending more copies off down the road here to other writers, what have you. I'm going to be doing this all at once when I contact agencies with my new info packet. This information packet has taken about 1 year to get anywhere near to the point where it is. It's still, you know, what do I say? I've still got a ways to go in finishing it because they attacked me so heavily with Techno. And it's taken me almost a year to get what I have for agencies done. It's taken me almost a year, and because of how heavily I'm attacked by these agents and technology, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, can people relate to not being able to write an email, or to not be able to recognize my own writing? They spike my writing heavily, my cassettes, and they do something where they alter your perceptions. They affect your ability to analyze, critically analyze your you know, what you read and what you look at. It's disturbing. They affect my emails. They affect my cassettes, what have you. So it's taken me almost a year just to have, you know, several cassettes and a couple of fact sheets written up. And I gotta get this stuff done. And what do I say? You know, I'm in a hurry here. And it's taken me almost a year. You know, it's been rough. It's been really, really rough. And, you know, in the meantime, my family's attacked heavily. But back to the book here. I gotta find where I was. I apologize. The public did not see and experience things as my kid, and these agents did. How could they? They were totally confused about what reality was. They were false witnesses. They were ignorant dupes telling themselves that they were seeing things from a real-life perspective in their minds, when in fact they were not. And to top it off, once the citizens experienced these events with these false perceptions, it became burned in their minds this way. It became ingrained this way in their minds. The event, as they experience it incorrectly, only serves to reinforce their misperceptions. They are deaf, dumb, and blind. They became false witnesses, and the agents became airtight in any argument to the contrary truth. The citizens did not experience things as they actually were. Thus, they were false witnesses, convinced of what they saw and experienced without actually knowing the truth of the matter. This is how I was framed and framed repeatedly. It is sick, and people practicing this psychology, regardless of job titles and badges, and just like any cult leader, belong in jail. This illegal misuse of psychology by government agents needs to be exposed. Let's look at it clearly and truthfully. The only ones not acting normal were the citizens and these citizens. Oh, excuse me. I was confused there. The only ones not acting normal were the citizens, and these citizens, furthermore, were doing things they would normally not do to someone. And to top it off, they would not do these things to anyone for these reasons in the first place. Never mind to a child. In other words, in real life, for the reasons given, they would not do this to anyone in the first place. Their behavior here clearly points to them being brainwashed, which is all programming is. It is just more subtle. It also points to a blind and stupid faith in authority. They have become like robots. This is the truth of the matter, that these citizens can no longer see this. They are convinced and believe that they are justified and entitled because of authority and a badge. They felt justified in what they were doing, even though they clearly were not. All of it like the Stanford prison experiment. It is just like any study on fascism in waves. How is that for screwed up? This is programming, and it is being misused in these government programs. Again, folks, that is what you're dealing with. And yes, when I took psychology, at the university, yes, we did cover the Stanford prison experiment. The Stanford prison experiments. Look, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but that study, it was, there was a lot of ugly behavior that went on. Take a look at this stuff. It is what is being misused on you if you are in stalking. And again, I hope that this information helps ground you. These spooks are affecting me. This is so typical of them. I'm just so tired of this. I'm going to get back to the book here. But, I was, even before I started to talk about the Stanford prison experiment, they started to affect me. And they make me very lightheaded. I'm just tired of this, It's just like kids, They're just like punk kids with exotic techno, you know. And again, I'm dealing with remote neural monitoring. It's just electromagnetic technology. That's all it is. Thought is electromagnetic energy. This technology affects your consciousness, affects your thoughts and your feelings, and everything. Your feelings, your thoughts is all electromagnetic energy. I understand the physics of very much of this here as well. If you take a look at my book, Don't Tread on Me, you'll see that I do. The chapter on this technology is excellent. I'm not going to lie to you. The chapter is extremely good. And I'm cleaning up my chapter for releasing on Amazon, and it will help anybody who's having problems with this techno. I promise you. It is a promise that you cannot be let down on. I guarantee you that it can only help you. There's no mistake in it. And even this, which is a messier version, but it's, what do I tell you? It'll help anybody. If you're dealing with stalking, you want to understand the mechanics of stalking, this will help you. I have a list of government agent tactics. If you're in stalking, and regardless if you don't get that you're dealing with agents, you think you're dealing with grouchy neighbors all organized together, what have you, you think it's independent companies, regardless, you're going to find very many of the tactics right here. And you'll find a lot of tactics, I guarantee you, that you didn't recognize going on in your life inside of this book. I've been in this 18 years. I've had tons of time for learning about all of this. And again, I'm trying to help you all out. I'm a good person. I have a big heart. And, I have all this knowledge about stalking. And I know that if people listen to what I'm saying here, and you don't have to take my word for it, man, don't. Take a look at my videos about there being a 30-day cycle for stalking and the end test. Take my tips, man. Keep a calendar, chart what's going on in your life. You don't have to take my word for it, man. But take a look. I hate to see all this knowledge going to waste. And the fact of the matter is, I'm in a position to at least help free some people here from stalking. I'm not mistaken about this at all. I don't begin to be. So, anyhow, back to the book here. Their behavior here clearly points to them being brainwashed, which is all programming is. It is just more subtle. It also points to a blind and stupid faith in authority. They become like robots. This is the truth of the matter, but these citizens can no longer see this. Okay, I read that. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I began at the wrong place. This is programming, and it is being misused in these government programs. People literally let someone else control their thinking and actions based on their perceptions being controlled in blind respect for authority. Once these agents start controlling your perceptions, you can forget it. This is where programming starts. And in mobbing, this is always done to the people closest to the target first. Because these people are the biggest threat to possibly exposing these agents and this program. Therefore, they have to be the most controlled. Over time, once the citizens have been in contact with agents long enough, the citizens simply take things for granted and believe everything they are told without even questioning. Blind faith. Eventually, the programming process becomes complete, and like an infected computer program, citizens accept things without question. They become brainless robots. The Borg, to use a Star Trek term, uh, uh, to use a Star Trek term. Once they do, they are manipulated more heavily, and in the case of the clown, who is extremely corrupt, they are absolutely misused. And this says something about the clown, about her personality, and it says something about the type of person she is. In fact, this whole scenario I have just explained does. As I've come to realize, this programming of stalking attracts corrupt agents, as you have to be sick to be doing any of this in the first place. To give you an idea, this extreme behavior of the public became so prevalent it reached a point where my kid at the age of 2 could tell that we were about to have a problem with someone and would stick her tongue out at them. And my kid was accurate. Think about this. Think about how much this must have been going on. And keep in mind that this is all the result of me knowing about 2 cover-ups in regards to pedophile police officer and racist murderer from 20 years ago. For this, my family is attacked and traumatized. Does any of it make sense? Of course not. And at this point, folks, look at the amount of money spent on this as well. Quite literally, this pedophile police officer was later used in the stalking for screwing around with me. Can you believe it? Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff I could say. And look at what I'm trying to say to you all. Look at the burden I carry. Look at the burden of my life, what I have been through, and look at where I am at. I'm not on a victim level anymore, and I haven't been for a long time. And what do I tell you? And yeah, I get it. What do I tell you? My life is not pleasant here, folks. You look at the video I posted last night. My life is not easy. It doesn't begin to be. I experience things in regards to this technology that can only be described to people at YouTube as being out of a horror movie. It's real heavy, but you got to walk through it. I don't know what to tell you, and my perspective is very different than that of many other people. And the only thing I can tell you is that I've been in this 18 years, and my own viewpoint has evolved here over time. The real thing, if you want to know the truth of it, I began my autobiography in 2005 and 2006, and that healed me. It just gave me a lot of perspective in regards to the citizens, what have you. And I learned some more when I finally started my book. I started this in February of 2008. And I learned a few more things as I went back to America in my mind, and I put things together like a detective. And, there was also some more healing, but, it just changed everything for me. I transformed. I just was just totally, I became a totally different person in regards to all of this. And this woman, she's not about letting me free. She's a psychopath. She hates me. She hates me. They're terrified, and also she's angry because she's on the verge of losing her career. And she's a psychopath. Look up psychopaths. Go to Wikipedia. Go look up psychopaths at a website, and you'll understand they have instant anger problems. That's over small things. So I'm not free, even though I understand the mechanics of this stalking. So, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. Yeah. I can get back to the book here. Does any of it make sense? Of course not. In fact, for many people, this is a major sticking point. People all want to somehow believe that there must be a better reason, a quote logical cause, which makes sense out Out of all of it, there is not. Framings are framings, and you would think that the average citizen would ask why I would be followed and harassed for 20 years without actually being arrested, and at the cost of at least $20 million, yet they do not. I gotta be honest with you folks. I think it's closer to around 40 million that they've spent on me. That was with me factoring in, about 20 agents at $50,000 a year. I'm sure they get a lot more than that. Hey guys, Lakshmi, hello, Lakshmi, hello, hello. Yeah, thank you. Um, and $50,000 is piddly. I'm dealing with people who are dealing with, in charge of classified technology. They must get paid more for keeping this all secret. 50,000 is, they get paid a lot more than that. So we're talking easily, really, in reality. I took a low estimate for my book. For sure, we're probably talking about $40 million spent for a pedophile and a racist killer. You believe it? And I come here to Germany. Look how screwed up my life is. I come here to Germany, and I got a bunch of jackasses and pinheads and dingbats, engaged in fascism, and I live in Germany. Hello. Can you believe it? Take a good look at me here. This is my life, and this is how surreal it is. You look at my other videos, you see that my girls are being reverse scripted, made opposite with this technology, so that these corrupt agents can collect techno sound bites for tricking agencies. And I'm literally watching my girls become opposite and act differently, act opposite, and say things that are just opposite of reality and opposite of how our entire life has been the entire time for years on end. Look at how surreal my life is, folks. I don't know what to say. Really what I should be doing is agents. I should be working on this information for agencies. And you're going to see me just disappear here for a while on YouTube after this. Most likely. I got an end test for stalking coming up. And, I got to keep my mouth shut. I know how this all works. They'll misuse techno, hold me in, what have you. They always do. I got to get this info finished for these agencies. I want to get it finished. I've been trying to do this for a year now. And it should, it's something that can be done in a week. That gives you an idea how heavily I'm attacked. So, and again, I'm going to redouble my efforts and refocus on getting this packet for this agency done. So if you guys see me disappear from YouTube for a while, that's why. Let's see. They are pathetic fools getting their hands filthy for corrupt agents and a corrupt government program while throwing away their freedoms, and all because of a pedophile cop and racist in health services. How much dumber can it get, right? Actually, in my case, it gets even more ridiculous and stupid, as this agent, the clown, is actually killing some of the citizens of this country because she is sick, and now agencies have been tricked to the point of thinking I am Lex Luthor. They have let a gang of killers go free, and I get the blame, typically. Maybe I will buy a cape and costume. On the other hand, money and a lawyer or firm will straighten this all out. In the meantime, keep an eye open for me on YouTube or elsewhere, as I will obviously have to start making this more public, simply based on the shoes I and my family wear for protection. A public spotlight, because agencies of this land have not done their jobs. Like I have a choice. So if you're paying attention, this is how programming works within mobbing and within COINTELPRO. For all intents and purposes, mobbing is simply when COINTELPRO steps out of the shadows and is made deliberately obvious to the target. And again, they both use programming. So here's a summary of programming. So this is how programming works below. They plan events ahead of time. These are called by me staged events. They tell people how the target will think, feel, react to the staged event. They are given programming sunglasses to wear. The target's reality dictates how the target will think, feel, react. The reality is this mobbing and what is going on within it. The citizens from the beginning are not given all of the information. Context is removed and information is hidden. Excuse me. They are not given the target's real perspective or all of the facts. They are not given reality. Reality is hidden. The citizens are given a false viewpoint of the target. They're given a false profile of the target, and then they are lied to based on this. Excuse me, I gotta giggle. These two are just tripping their heads off. I know they're loud for this video, but they're happy here, so I know what's going on. From this false perspective and false profile of the target, that is sold to the citizens. The citizens are prepared and pre-lied to, whitewashed in regards to the staged event. They are told the target will react this way because of this, or because he is sensitive, or whatever fits the false profile. The possible and most likely reactions are explained to the citizens from a viewpoint of the target that is false. And the funny thing is, these agents are able to predict your reactions based on knowing what all the facts are, based on reality, based on what they are going to do to you. Thus, when the citizens see and experience a staged event with a target, they in fact do not have a clear picture of what is going on with the target, and therefore do not have a clear idea of what they are seeing and experiencing. They become false witnesses. And folks, this is what's happening to y'all in stalking. This is what's happening to you. This is how the public is being manipulated around you. The citizens think they know what they are seeing. They think they know what they are experiencing. They think they know why things are the way they are. They think they know what the deal is with the target. They think they know the perspective of the target. They think they know why the target reacts or acts the way that they do within the staged event. And the final irony is they think, see, and experience this based on being lied to and manipulated. They do not think at all on their own. They do not even begin to do anything. And that right there, folks, is the final irony. They are no longer thinking human beings. They're not thinking for themselves. And, I see this with agencies also. And how? And why do I know this? Because I see a lot of basic realities going right into the garbage. I know this, man. Look, I've been in this 18 years. There are not so many, what do I say? I have not seen so many people out there who have been in it this long. I've been in this a very long time. We're talking 2 decades, man. So if you want a good source of information, then, here I am. What do I say? And, when I'm not being affected by spooks and techno, look at how I am about this. And again, knowledge is power. My books, they really healed me. And my perspective changed, and again, knowledge is power. And I'm trying to share this with you all, to help many of you. Once you understand a lot of this, you can become more grounded, and it can only help you. When you understand the mechanics of how it all works, and you can see it going on, it's going to affect you less. So I'm trying to help you all out here. And, please post some commentary. All right, Lakshmi. Excuse me, guys. Lakshmi, come on, guys. That's enough, guys. I'm trying to help you all out. And, if you understand how this works, it's going to affect you. Excuse me a minute. Guys, come on. Guys. Yeah, come on. What's going on? Yeah, there's no big bird out there. There's nothing going on out there. You don't have to be getting all fierce. Yeah? Well, where's the cat? The cat's in the other room. Come on, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're family. They're both really intelligent. One's smarter than our cat. And they got their own personalities. They're really cool. So, yeah, play with the ball. Get the ball there, buddy. So back to the book here. I got to find where I was. I apologize. Which they do not even begin to do any thinking, which is the point. This is about being tricked into letting other people do your thinking, and from there controlling your actions. It is brainwashing. The reality is they are not thinking on their own. They are thinking, seeing, experiencing based on how they were told to. They are not thinking on their own or taking and making actions on their own. Common sense, reason, and the word normal go right out the window. Does it look like they are acting normal? They look like cult and act like cult because the same process is being used on them. And just like with cults, they are being misused for someone else's purposes, which are not good. They haven't a clue as to what normal is at that point. And it is looking at the bigger picture that points to this, and that points to reality, yet they do not see this. It should be obvious that they have been brainwashed. What else to call it? And normal here is they would normally not be doing this to someone in real life. And you know what I mean by that. I should put quotes around the wording here, real life. This is dangerous behavior on the part of government. I would say unprecedented behavior, but when you look at the public exposure of MK Ultra and COINTELPRO, it should be obvious that it is not. Not only is this not unprecedented, but this mobbing, stalking, does in fact involve both MK Ultra and COINTELPRO. It also involves the same psychology as the Stanford prison experiment. Should be obvious that government has continued with its pursuit of these programs regardless, and that if these programs were illegal then they are still illegal now, regardless of a name change. It is all still illegal and dangerous, and it is a total misuse of the citizens and public. That is the point of programming, to get people to do things, say things, see things, believe things they normally would not, in order to affect and attack the target, to destroy the mental health of the target, to do what the agents want them to do. It is all about torturing the target by misusing people to inflict traumas. Excuse me. Come on, guys. Where were we here? It is all about torturing the targets by misusing people to inflict traumas. And again, I believe it's the United Nations definition. If you look up the UN definition of torture, you'll find that it surprisingly sounds like stalking. You know, they are torturing you by the UN definition of the word of torture. You are being tortured, and you're being tortured in an invisible form. Your mental health is being targeted and attacked for getting you to have psychotic snaps. And then they use, and these psychotic snaps are simply for having more dirt on it, and for manipulating people even heavier and harder. Yeah. It is a clear example of brainwashing and cult. The public sees everything with blinders on. Programming is standard operational procedure for government agents in these illegal programs. It is also ugly and disgusting if you are me, my kid, and my girlfriend. And then it goes on to an end to this chapter. I'll read on just a little bit more here. So for my readers, the piece above is on programming and gives a good idea of how nasty mobbing and COINTELPRO are. I hope this is a help for others, as this programming is nasty business, and as knowing how it works can go a long ways to exposing it and neutralizing it. If you pay attention, you can even see this misused in the news. A lot of the same techniques are used for selling the public stories and for selling a viewpoint to go along with these stories, which make the news. Blah, blah, blah. So, again, folks, I hope that helps. That's from my book here, A Logical Guide to Seeing and Understanding Corrupt Politicians. If y'all want to know what the bigger picture is in regards to stalking, look it up. It's on Amazon. And I hope what I've just read for y'all helps. I don't know if you can read this. I can put this here. It's just a description of my book, and me, to some extent. And you know, that's the whole point of my books. Folks, my books were written to help people. And I realize I seem, you know, what do I say? I'm affected in my videos. I don't ever feel like myself. I haven't since 2006. If you're familiar with this technology, they have somebody else's energy print on me. And so, you know, I'm affected during these videos. You know, these people don't want uh, they want to try and keep me quiet, keep me buried, keep the information from getting out. Um, and here it is. You should be able to freeze the frame. Okay, I've got a. And what do I say? Uh, you know, if you check out the books, they will help you. They can't hurt you, and they're most certainly are worth the money. Uh, I guess I could do maybe a little bit here from the government agent chapter, the tactics chapter. Um, okay, I'll do a separate video of that. My book, Don't Tread on Me, is a point. I will. I will get into this. I'll read some stuff for y'all later. I have a list of things that they can do with this technology in my technology chapter. And all the way back when I first began doing videos in July, I tried reading that list of tactics that they can do with this technology. And I will try and do that again. The video wouldn't load. And I'll try and do that again for you all at YouTube. Also, what I want to do for helping people out is I want to post a video on self-help, things that you can do for helping yourself. I've got a routine. I've got things that I do for myself. I've got a lot of good ideas for counteracting the stress involved in your life. And, if you all have got questions, feel free to contact me. Look, man, what are you going to do? Piss me off? You can come over here and, cut off a hand and, you're probably not going to get a reaction. So, don't be afraid to contact me and don't be a stranger and post some comments. Let me know what you think about what I've read from my book. That is how the public is manipulated into screwing with you all hardcore, man. And, this is based on my own experience, and this experience took place here in Germany, and it was heavy. You got no damn idea. My kid at the age of 2 could sense, she could literally see when people were going to, she could feel it. She knew. We both did. When somebody's getting ready to make some nonsense with her. Many times she'd stick her tongue out at them before they'd even done anything. That gives you an idea how heavy it was. So, what do I say? And, look at how I am in regards to all of this. Mine is spooks and techno. I'm pretty damn grounded. It's what they're trying to hide from agencies. And, look, folks, please mention my name to other people. Please pass me around. The more people that are watching, the better off I and my family are here. I need some safety. I need a safety net. And my best bet is in, people looking and people caring and people being aware of our circumstances. These spooks have cut off contact with my parents. They're doing it in multiple ways, 3, 4 ways, and this is how they do things because this way it's less obvious. Then the agency says to me, well, I thought you said it's this. Or my dad says, well, I thought you said it's this. Now you're saying it's this. Well, it's both ways. They do it in 3 different ways, 4 different ways. They attack my sleep in, like 5 or 6 different ways. It doesn't mean that just because I speak of one, it doesn't mean that the others aren't valid as well. That's all a tactic. It's camouflage. That way people don't see it as it switches appearances. But the reality is it's all the same thing. I can help many of you all out in terms of the tactics you're dealing with in stalking. The easiest way is you simply take a look at my book. You can look at it for free on Amazon. So, for anybody that thinks I'm all about making money here, that's not true. This is 450 pages. It's $12.95, and there's a wealth of information in this book. I say it's a mess, but that's all relative. If you're in stalking, I guarantee you this book, you'll be glad that you read it. It's an honest opinion. I would be disappointed to hear somebody in stalking say they looked at it and they were disappointed in this. I just don't believe it. I've been in this 18 years, folks, and there is a mountain of information within this book for people inside stalking. What do I tell you? And in regards to stalking in the bigger picture, This book is also very good, and if you look me up at Amazon, you look at the chapter lists, and I know I sound very materialistic here, but it's not a matter of materialism. And money, yes, of course I need money. I look at my situation. Yes, of course. But it's not about that. I'm in a position to help a whole hell of a lot of people inside of Stalking. And I'm frustrated that I don't see that anybody's taken. Well, I can't say that either, but I'm just frustrated that it's not happening. Um, you know, um, there's a lot of good information within these books, and I go through this book and the chapters in one of my other videos. So, take a look, and these books will help you become more self-empowered because you will understand the dynamics involved in stalking even better, and you will understand what is actually going on with these citizens, and then maybe you're not getting as tight and angry, what have you, because you understand that how they're being manipulated, you understand what's going on, and it will help you stay grounded. Simply by looking at the mechanics of what is going on, with me, it helps me be more grounded. You understand once you understand what's going on, they become meaningless to a very large extent. Of course, that depends on what they're doing to you, also. Yeah, but these books will only help you all out. So there you are. Thank you. My name's Dante Kalidas. Most likely, it's getting near an end test for stalking here for me. And you most likely will not be hearing from me for a while. I may read some passages from, I may do something else. I was going to do something where I do separate projects about other subjects called Chewing the Fat, with Dante Kalidas. And I may read some passages from this. This is the poem of the man God. If you're Christian, I certainly recommend you read this. If you're spiritual and you believe in, people who have been sent by God for helping humanity, rise, and raise its consciousness, then this is also a good book. And again, I'm not somebody that can be put into a category of any kind of religion. You see, I have Babaji and Mother Mira back here behind me, and those are two biggies for me. Mother Mira, actually, believe it or not, she lives right here in Germany. And I posted a video under, I forget what the video title, my video list title is, but somebody made a really nice video with quotes from her. And whether you're Christian, Muslim, you name it, when you look at the quotes, you see that she speaks truth. You really, you see it and you can feel it. And what do I say, man? The woman's real. And yes, we've been many times to see her here in Germany, and you most certainly see her in my book dedications. You better believe it. If it had not been for that woman right there, what do I tell you? My life would be very different right now, and in worse, it would be far worse. So, yeah, I got a lot of respect for her, a lot of thanks, a lot of love for her. So anyhow, I got an end test coming up. I'm going to get quiet with my family, but for, some psychological relief or what have you, just for my own energy, I may do some separate videos. There's another book, I forget what it's called. It's about Paul Solomon. And I may read some part. Here it is. One moment. This is an incredibly good book. Nobody knows about this book. I find it very funny. But, wow. If you guys want to know about a really good book, and, it does get into prophecies and some things coming up here around the corner, the space light that we're going to be seeing, they're talking about a comet. I'm not sure I believe that. I write of that, by the way. Keep in mind, I began this in February of 2008, and I wrote about this space cloud. And, they're talking about light being seen all around the world. And you see here, that's what's on the cover. There's a green, I don't know how well it shows up here, but there's a cloud here around the Earth. And that's what I've written about. And what you are actually witnessing, what you're starting to see in the media now, in the alternative media, and what do I tell you? What you're starting to see is you're starting to see some of the things that I predicted in my book here. You're starting to see it come true. Yeah. And for me, it's nice. It's nice to be validated and vindicated here. It's nice. But anyhow, I may read some stuff from here. Most certainly, he did get into this. This is a very, very good book, by the way. Um, um, and anybody can read this, whether you be Christian, Muslim, what have you. It's a good book, man. And if you're interested in Mother Mira, I recommend this book. Now, this guy has stabbed Mother Mira in the back, Andrew Harvey. He's being all temperamental and acting like a 2-year-old. Last time I heard about him. But that said, this book will open anybody's heart. And it's about his relationship with this woman, Mother Mira. And what do I say? These are books which charge my batteries. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I can't speak about the stalking stuff, because this woman's an anal retentive, foaming at the mouth rabid chipmunk. I like to have a little fun here with her. That right there would be enough to make her angry, by the way. But what do I say? So I will be quiet with my family. I'm going to take a quote vow of silence, but I may do some spiritual recharging. There's a really great guy I've been communicating with. I've communicated with a couple of really good people, and one guy in particular, he's done some reading of material on the internet. He was reading from a couple of books, what have you, and I've spoken to him a few times, and it's been nice, and he's been a source of inspiration for me. So I may read some material and passages from books and recharge my batteries instead of focusing on stalking and what have you. And that will be the only speaking I do. Basically, I'll be totally quiet with my family. We'll see if I go free. This woman's not going to let me go free, by the way, and I know it. But anyhow, and yes, I get that you all, many of you all think that I'm just nuts for thinking there's an M test for stalking. But believe it or not, I actually know what I'm speaking of. I've seen people. I've seen people come into stalking and go out of it. There's a way in. There's a way out. It is a government program with a beginning and an end. You have to understand what the point of it is. It's about creating compliant citizens. MK Ultra is misused on you, and the Stanford prison experiment is misused on the public. That type of thing. Two different sets of psychology being misused on people here. One for the target, one for the public. It's about creating people who are compliant to government. It is about breaking down patriots. It's about breaking down people who are against corrupt government, so that there is no more resistance to corrupt government. That's what it's about, folks. What do I say? There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I'm giving it to you straight here. And I know for a fact that there is an end test for stalking. I've seen people go in and out of it in front of my face. Again, how weird is my life? We both, me and this guy, we both worked at this restaurant, and he went in and out of it in front of my face. In fact, he got put into it before I was even in stalking. I recognized there was something weird going on. I noticed everybody was acting brainless, and they tried to get me involved in talking junk about them, and I wouldn't do it. I was the only person there not doing it. And that says something about me. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get my hands dirty. I thought everybody was acting stupid. And then I eventually got put in. And I've seen other people also go in and out of it. So I know what I'm speaking of. These agents back in America communicated there is an end to the stalking. They didn't tell me about a 30-day cycle or anything like that. And the same thing with these agents here. It's been communicated to my parents and my girlfriend. I've also observed that it's a 30-day cycle. And I give this to you for helping you all. If you listen, you look on the internet, you'll see that there are people who went free of it and they don't know why. This is why they passed. They didn't overreact, they didn't get loud, they didn't kook out, and they went free. You explain to me why they went free. These people decided that these stalkers were having a good day and just set people free. Forget it, man. I know what I'm speaking of, and you all can take it to heart, or at least experiment or be observant and look. And look at some of my other videos where I talk about the rules of stalking, the 30-day cycle, what have you. You don't have to take my word for it. Or you can, just go on being where you're at. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't change anything for me. But what I'm offering you can change your life. And yes, there are people who are held in deliberately, like me. But that said, I'm betting that most people are not dealing with hardcore psychopaths like I am. And yes, I get how hard stalking is and everything, but that is the program itself. Behind that, there are actually people who are following the rules according to their agency and the rules of stalking. So there's a lot that you have to understand here. And again, it's, what do I say? You can take it or leave it. Yeah. And I certainly recommend that at least take something from what I offer you here. At the least, this piece I did on programming should be a help for you all. And I've got tons of information like that, tons. It goes a lot easier if well, what do I say? I'm not going to be reading my books in their entirety on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much. I got to get this info done for agencies, and that's what I will be focusing on. And again, I've got an end test coming up. I'll probably just sit still. I won't even be doing that. And today, and I think tomorrow, I have one last day before I get into a zone for an end test, and then I'm just going to not do work on. I keep my journal, stuff like that, but doing any quote agency work, what have you, I probably won't even do. And I just take a break, and I make it work for me, and then I see what happens. I'll be held in. I always am. So we see what happens here. Anyhow, thank you. My name's Dante Kalidas. And stay tuned, and please mention my videos to other people. Yeah. And if you like my piece on programming, then I recommend you go to Amazon and take a look. If you want to be more empowered here, and you want to have a better understanding of what you're dealing with, then I recommend you do it. You're not, in the end, what do I say? It's about helping yourself. And I'm just speechless. I can't say anything beyond that. So thank you, and that's it for today.